Merci, Monsieur Vice-Président. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. We are here today to confront the profound challenge to global social justice, the pervasive denial of fundamental rights to decent work and social security within the informal economy. This isn't a marginal issue, it is a reality for billions of people. We must move beyond simply acknowledging this challenge and commit to transformative action. The distinguished speakers before me have already painted the scale of the issue, but allow me to repeat a few of these startling facts. Nearly 58% of global employment is within the informal sector. In low-income countries, this is almost 90% of the workforce, a stark indicator of systemic inequality. 80% of enterprises operate informally, many of which lack decent working conditions, and informal workers earn half of what formal workers do. Occupational hazards in the informal economy lead to nearly 2 million deaths annually, and less than 10% of workers in low-income countries receive benefits in case of work injury, and a mere 2.6% of low-income countries receive maternal benefits. There's been reference to the fact that women are disproportionately in informal work. Over 80% of domestic workers, a large portion of whom are women, work informally, with only 20% having social insurance. Youth are at higher risk of informality. More than 3/4 of youth are in informal employment, compared to 55% of those aged 25 to 64. And own account workers are more than twice as likely to be in informal employment compared to employees, highlighting the vulnerability of these workers. The widespread prevalence of informality is undeniable, but these statistics represent more than numbers. They are the stark reality of street vendors, of delivery workers whose livelihoods is threatened without social protection. This unacceptable situation demands that we protect workers' rights, improve working conditions, guarantee social protection, and promote overall well-being. We must implement urgent, effective strategies to facilitate the transition of enterprises and workers to the formal economy, securing decent work and social protection for all. The ILO, guided by its constitutional mandate to promote social justice and decent work for all, is uniquely positioned to lead this transformation. Our advantage lies in our foundation of internationally recognized labor standards, our tripartite structure that brings together governments, employers, and workers, and our deep understanding of the complexities of formalization. In particular, ILO Recommendation 204 provides a clear, actionable roadmap to facilitate transition from the informal to the formal economy. In fact, this is one of the topics discussed at the International Labour Conference in June this year. Here's how we can achieve progress. 1, prioritizing fundamental rights and protection. Freedom of association, collective bargaining, the elimination of forced and child labor, the eradication of discrimination, as well as safety and health at work, are non-negotiable and must be universally applied, regardless of employment status. 2, we need to address unsafe and unhealthy working conditions. We must extend and enforce protections to ensure every worker has a safe and healthy working environment. This is a moral obligation. And 3, universal social protection as a right. Social security encompassing access to healthcare and income security throughout the life cycle is a fundamental human right, not a privilege, that drives formalization. As such, we need to build and maintain universal social protection floors as per ILO Recommendation 202, tailored to informal workers and their families. We need to expand social security and insurance to adapting legal frameworks, administrative procedures, benefits, and contributions to informal workers. This is a critical factor in enabling their transition to the formal economy. And we need to reach universal and adequate protection to achieve social justice and economic stability and resilience. And as the Deputy High Commissioner also referred to, the recently launched joint OHCHR and ILO fact sheet on the right to social security guide countries to make this right a reality. There are numerous examples of countries that have successfully extended social protection to informal workers, and some of these examples were mentioned by the previous speaker. Let me add a few. Uruguay uses monotax mechanisms that simplifies tax and contributions payments for micro and small enterprises. This mechanism has led to a marked increase in social security coverage of the self-employed and micro enterprises. South Africa extended legal coverage of unemployment, maternity and sickness insurance to domestic workers. And Argentina's actors law extended social security to the culture and creative sector by recognizing a minimum of 4 months' work as a full year of service, effectively adapting traditional contributions accounting to the intermittent nature of work in this sector. Progress requires addressing gender inequality head-on within the informal economy. Gender equality is indeed essential for a just and equitable society. Quality child care and other care services are essential for promoting decent and productive employment, especially for women, who are the ones who pay the heaviest penalties in terms of access to decent work when quality care services remain out of reach. We face a critical juncture. The question is not if we should act, but how we should act. The transition to formality is a journey demanding innovative, multifaceted strategies that address today's world of work, including integrated policy frameworks. We need comprehensive integrated evidence-based strategies developed through social dialogue that break down silos and combine incentives with compliance measures. We need empowering voice and representation. Strengthening the organization and representation of informal workers and economic units is crucial for their rights and voices to be heard. This is about genuine empowerment, not token representation. This also requires building institutions that can sustain and amplify workers' voices over time, ensuring their participation is shaping policies that impact them. And we need addressing decent work deficits now. While formalization is the long-term goal, we must immediately improve working conditions in the informal economy as a foundation for formalization, with social security as a key enabler. This includes also considering the opportunities and challenges brought by transformations in labor markets related with technological transformation, including the impact on the world of work from the digital labor platforms. In this regard, ILC 2025 will begin a double discussion towards the possible adaptation of a new international labor standard for decent work in the platform economy. If adopted, this will pioneer the setting of international labor standards towards the future of work. We must foster an enabling environment for sustainable enterprises, promoting productivity gains and economic development. Formalizing economic units facilitates formal employment and access to contributory social protection. Formalization and a green transition are mutually reinforcing. We must address vulnerabilities and support informal workers to avoid leaving them behind. Digital tools can support formalization, but equitable and affordable access is crucial to avoid deepening the digital divide. Robust data is essential to grasp the nature and drivers of informality. We need to invest in data systems to ensure that policies are evidence-based. To conclude, these strategies are grounded in the human rights and are practical and actionable steps towards a more just and equitable world of work. The ILO, through its internationally recognized standards, technical assistance, as well as through the Global Coalition for Social Justice and the UN Global Accelerator on Jobs and Social Protection for Just Transitions, stands ready to work together with diverse partners to drive progress on decent work and equality. This is a moral and economic imperative. Protecting informal workers not only uplifts human dignity, but also strengthens economies and reinforces our shared humanity. Let's commit with a sense of urgency to make decent work a reality for all. I'm looking forward to the discussion. Merci, Monsieur Vice-Président.